Good morning, happy Friday. So, before I get into what's essentially my high yesterday, and that was yesterday's episode of Hot Ones, I need to talk about my low. Okay, so, you guys know that there's this one thing that I've been trying to do that if I do, whether or not I'm successful at it or not, I would still say that 2023 was a great year, right? It would just be better if I did succeed at it. So, yesterday I was presented an opportunity where I was kind of on the fence about going somewhere. But I happened to be driving by, and as I would get closer, maybe I'd sort of think about going more and more. And the opportunity to do that thing legit presented itself right there in front of me. Literally right there. So all I had to do was go find parking. And I'm not kidding. Because for the record, I was in Corning when this was going on. And let's just say I had to park about over a block and a half away. Meaning by the time I actually got there, the opportunity was gone. Oh man, I really lost this chance because of parking of all things. Are you kidding me? I mean, no, that's not the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. And of course I wouldn't say necessarily ruined my day, but I've been thinking about it for a while, that's for sure. So, now that that's out of the way, I can say that my high and my act of kindness were, seeing my nephews yesterday, that was definitely a high. And, when my act of kindness was helping them, was helping my mom, watch them. But definitely yesterday, for sure, it was yesterday's episode of Hot Ones. I mean, Bobby Flay, of all people, how do you, because, I was a little kid when Bobby Flay was on TV. Listen, growing up, there was growing up, there's a few, they have a bunch of channels, but there's only a few that you legit dedicated yourself to watching. For me, it was Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Fox, Disney Channel, WB, back when it was kids WB, and Food Network. And Comedy Central. Comedy Central was another. Am I missing any? Well, FX eventually. And then Fox Family, which became ABC Family, which became Freeform, which is not a channel on my TV anymore because Spectrum is being weird with it. You have a bunch of channels, but there's definitely several that you really tend to gravitate towards watching, right? Well, Food Network for me was one of them, and I saw Bobby Flay a lot. And I love that even in his probably, how old is Bobby Flay? 50s? I had to look this up. Hold on. How is, my computer mouse right here. Where is it? There it is. Oh, by the way, I should also tell you that I was wrong about yesterday's pick. The Bears won. So that makes me 0-1 for the week so far. Let's see. 58. Oh, he's 58 years old. Okay. That's actually not that much younger than my mom and dad. They're both about to turn 65, so yeah, not that much older. Anyway, where was I? So of course I know who pretty much even if you never watched Food Network, chances are you've heard of who Bobby Flay is. That's how like famous he is. And what I loved about this episode of Hot Ones was how the first like several questions were dedicated to like food TV and like Bobby Flay's like a journey to pretty much get to the Hot Ones chair in a way. Like literally the first question Sean Evans asked was like, when would you define when food TV's golden? What would you define as food TV's golden age? And I love Bobby Flay's answer because he would think it would be like right now, this is the golden age of food TV. If there was a starting point though, he would say it was Iron Chef. Like, remember, cooking shows way back in the very beginning, it was like a guy or possibly a girl in front of the camera, just cooking in front of the camera. That was all it was. But today, you have shows like Chopped and like all these great competition shows that you have an aspect of reality TV in there, which I know some people are on the fence about reality TV. I am too, but listen, there's good reality TV and bad reality TV. Like, I like to at least put stuff like what Food Network does in good reality TV. That's just me, though. He talked about how his favorite of the best restaurant movie of all time is Big Night, and he also made special attention to pay attention to like the last scene where Stanley Tucci is like making like scrambled eggs. There's like no cut at all. He also mentioned that this movie called Mostly Martha, which is a German film, that could also be the best restaurant movie of all time. And he touched upon this in the first question. I didn't say it yet, but the third question was like how Flay versus Morimoto like changed food television. It brought Food Network into pop culture. It did. You had Iron Chef America, and then it was off to the races. Of course I watched Iron Chef America. Iron Chef America was great. It was great staying up late on Sunday night watching Iron Chef America. It was cool. This is a true fact, by the way. But one of Bobby Flay's old shows was Grillin' and Chillin'. He shot 42 episodes in about 6 days. Well, sort of. He doesn't quite remember if it was either 6 or 7 days, but it was definitely within that range. Like, that was back then, he had to do like live to tape. You had no edits, no cuts, nothing. Technology has come pretty far nowadays. So, I mean, yeah, it seems crazy, but it helped with today and how he could do like 50 episodes of Beat Bobby Flay in 25 days. So 2 episodes a day. And yeah, that's, considering how fast-paced a show like Beat Bobby Flay is, that's saying something. Like, even doing one would be like a huge production. But you do 2 a day, like, I mean, I don't think Bobby Flay specified if it was 25 days straight, but I believe it. Okay, now here's where some of the stuff gets a little bit personal in terms of his thoughts and his opinions are. But literally the 5th question was, if an alien landed in Times Square looking for food in New York City, like, where would you take them? Like a true blue New York City dining experience. I mean, you can argue that Bobby Flay is the king of New York. So, 2 types of restaurants came to mind. You had steakhouses, possibly like a Peter Luger's or a Wolfgang's. My father's actually had a Peter Luger before. He said it was really good. And then there's like Southern Italian food like Carbone. So yeah, steakhouses and Southern Italian food, which those are definitely my love language. I mean, my favorite my favorite place in the world is Libs, and that's pretty much got both right there. I don't know if I necessarily call it. Actually, what do you call Libs' steakhouse? I know they have amazing steaks. I just thought of something really funny to put when I put the YouTube link of this video on Facebook later. Let's see. He talked about which is more brutal. Which critics are more brutal, restaurant critics or TV critics? And like, when it comes to TV, Bobby can justify like, okay, they probably didn't like the lighting, or the production value was weak, or they didn't like his outfit, something like that. To him, restaurant critics are worse, because Bobby Flay himself is like making the food. And like he puts his heart and soul into making something good. And if a restaurant critic hated it, like, it hurts. And Sean also asked about the critic hijinks. Basically, it's the things that critics tend to do whenever they dine out. Because some critics, like, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a critic per se, considering I have talked about other restaurants and places I like before. I mean, let's say for the sake of argument that you could call me a critic, okay? Not saying I am, but let's say for the sake of argument that you could. Like, I don't really do anything that's, like, out of the ordinary. Like, I don't wear a disguise. I don't, like, have any mannerisms. To my knowledge, I don't think any restaurant has my picture on, like, their wall. Like, look out for this guy. Because, like, that's what some critics do. Like, there are some critics who, like, wear different disguises, go by different aliases. Like, knowing, like, what critics do what is, like, that's part of their job. The restaurants, that is. Like, a restaurant has to know, okay, who is this guy or girl, what their names are, or what other names they go by, what disguises they tend to wear. Possibly they even disguise their voices too. Oh, trust me, it's pretty crazy. Let's see. Sean also has his thoughts on, Bobby Flay's thoughts on, the following types of, like, what kind of food you get at other places, like, for example, he asked about casinos. Bobby Flay actually loves casinos. He has a few restaurants and casinos himself. And it's great for the hospitality industry. Yankee Stadium, admittedly Bobby Flay, I wouldn't necessarily say it's biased, but Bobby Flay is a longtime Yankees fan. He grew up in New York City, of course, he'd be a Yankees fan. And to serve food at Yankee Stadium, like, that's a huge thrill. But it's all about in between innings. Like, when teams are changing positions on the field, like, that's when people are rushing to get food so they don't miss what happens next. And finally, like, Caribbean resorts, like, the staff there are always very relaxed. Not everything has to be in a rush. And, like, everyone's on vacation. Don't give them any stress. Like, every restaurant is different. Again, casinos, they're more fast-paced, but they're really more for the hospitality industry. Or you have, again, Yankee Stadium. It's in between innings. With Caribbean resorts, they're more relaxed and, fun. And it's awesome how it's different. Okay, this is the one we talked about the bomb. Okay, differences between ice cream, gelato, and sorbet. Which, considering it was the bomb, he needed those things. Which, By the way, just so you know, Bobby Flay didn't use any water. He literally talked about how, like, you notice how I hadn't had any water? I think water's a bad idea. I mean, it looks like a good idea, but I think it just, like, switches everything around. Like, that's why he opted for milk. And that's another thing they talked about, too. Like, now, don't get me wrong. If you're one of those people that is, like, vegan or vegetarian, and, like, you don't want to drink regular milk, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You're doing yourselves and quite possibly the entire planet a favor. I personally don't do that. But I think Bobby Flay might be the first person in a long time to have legit whole milk as, like, one of his lifelines for taking on the wings of death. Like, no one drinks whole milk anymore. I love drinking whole milk. In fact, hold on a second. I have a thing of whole milk in my fridge. See? Whole milk. Just wanted to show that off. So, yeah. Actually, it's got that thing of, okay, so before I can continue on, like, that's a new thing of whole milk. I actually had a thing of, like, a half gallon of whole milk left in my fridge from, like, back in July. Let's just say going up to the lake going to and from the lake can have its drawbacks. Right, I was talking about the differences between ice cream, gelato, and sorbet. Well, sorbet has no dairy. It's usually, like, fruit and water and sugar and stuff like that. But gelato, believe it or not, has less butterfat than ice cream. I mean, look, I love frozen treats. You give me ice cream, you give me gelato, you give me sorbet, I'm not going to complain. They talked about how Drake brought Bobby to cook for the cast at SNL, which was a dream, but it was all, like, last minute, which is insane. And finally, I mean, listen, Bobby Flay is known for making lots of kinds of food, but you could argue that the thing he makes the best is a burger. I mean, Bobby's Burgers, like, all over the country, sort of. Not like a fast food chain, but, like, really good burgers. So if there was anyone to ask what makes a good burger, Bobby Flay himself. And it begs the question, is there a right or wrong answer for what kind of cheese you put on a burger? And yes, there is. American cheese all the way. And you gotta make sure it's melted completely. That's the key. Don't put a thin slice of American cheese on a burger, on a hot burger, expecting that's gonna, you gotta melt the cheese. That's how it works. So, it begs the other question. What does Bobby Flay think is the best fast food chain burger? And when he said this answer, I was so happy because I just had this back in May, and I'm so glad I got some validation. But according to Bobby Flay, he does believe the best fast food chain burger is In-N-Out, baby. Yeah. Oh man, In-N-Out, awesome. Oh man, In-N-Out's in my Mount Rushmore of. Oh, I know I said it's on my Mount Rushmore of fast food chains in general. It's definitely on my Mount Rushmore of fast food burgers. Absolutely. Speaking of which, I just had another one of my Mount Rushmore last night. I had Five Guys. So yeah, Five Guys and In-N-Out. Definitely two burgers I have in my Mount Rushmore of fast food chain burgers. So needless to say, as like a kid who grew up in the 90s watching Food Network, seeing Bobby Flay come as far as he has, like, dude, you don't need, like, you don't really need me to tell you all that this episode was awesome. Because it was. But, like, when you see, like, a kid, when you see someone that you saw on, like, a little kid do stuff like, you saw as a little kid do stuff like this, like, I mean, it just makes you think, like, wow. I know who that guy is. I've been watching him for years. And he's still as successful as he was before. So, this episode was fantastic. I loved every second of it. I might just watch it again. I hope you like this video. If you did, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video. If you guys want to join me, it will be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to people, let them do that. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.